We began when we began Hilchos Milah close to 2 months ago. We started off in the first year that the mitzvah's Milah is a mitzvah that belongs to the father. It's a chiyuv, it's mutal ala av. The father's the one who has to do the mitzvah's Milah. If the father's not a Mohel, that's usually the case, then the father calls up, he gets a Mohel to do the mitzvahs, to do the Milah for him. Who makes the bracha? The Mohel makes the bracha. Tonight we're going to discuss two things. First of all, why can't the father make the bracha? Even if the Mohel does the Milah, let the father make the bracha. And after we understand why the father can't make the bracha, we still have to understand how could the Mohel make the bracha. L'chaira, there's an issue. The Mohel, he doesn't have the mitzvah. Who has the mitzvah of being mal this baby? The father. If it's not his mitzvah, how could he make a bracha? And how could he say vitzivanu? These are machlekes rishonim. What happens if the father does do the Milah? The ikar adin, if the father's a Mohel, he should be mal. So these are machlekes rishonim what the lashon habracha is. If the lashon habracha is ala Milah or lamel, machlekes rishonim. The Shulchan Aruch brings the machlekes la halacha. That's all if the father's the Mohel. What happens if the father's not the Mohel? That's usually the case. And because that's usually the case, they will masaken a bracha for the father to make the second bracha lachnisai, right? You just made the bracha lachnisai, the second bracha. And the Mohel is the one who makes the bracha ala Milah. The Mohel makes the bracha. So the shaila is, like we explained, why this bracha of ala Milah that the Mohel makes, why can't the father make it? And how could the Mohel make it? This that we're going to discuss tonight is really not just a Hilchos Milah, it's negei in all mitzvahs. And shlichus will try to, go to a couple of cases in this particular idea of having a shliach who makes the bracha. We see over here by Milah, the father doesn't make the bracha, and the Mohel makes the bracha. So, to get a little bit of an understanding, it's kedai to first go to the halacha of Micah. The Shulchan Aruch, the last siman in Shulchan Aruch, in Dalet Chalkes Shulchan Aruch in Choshe Mishpat, Hilchos Micah, siman Tavchav Zayin. The Shulchan Aruch says it's a mitzvah to build a Micah. If someone's building a house and he's building a porch, he has to make a wall around. He has to make a railing that no one falls down. There's a mitzvah min HaTorah, and you make a bracha. What happens? And that's most of the times the case. What happens if the person that's making the mic is not the person, not the homeowner? He hires a contractor to build the porch. So what's the halacha over there, lagabe the bracha? Could the mishaleach, the person who owns the house, who has to build a micah, could he make the bracha? Or could he not make the bracha? So the Machna Ephraim makes a chiluk, and he says it depends what type of worker this person is. If the worker is a schir yoim, he gets paid by the hour. You hire a Mexican, you hire by the hour. So then you say yad poyel ki yad balabayis. That means that the worker that's working for the homeowner, for the balabayis, it's like as if the balabayis is doing it. So maybe he can make a bracha. The mishaleach can make a bracha. But if, let's say, the uman, the contractor, is a poyel, what he's doing is he's doing by the job. If he's doing by the job, so then the worker is doing his work, and then after he's done building the porch, then he gets paid for it. So then, the Machna Ephraim, in such a case, the homeowner cannot make a bracha. The mishaleach cannot make a bracha. Milah, we could l'chayra understand when it comes to Milah. Milah obviously it's not paid by the hour. Even if you paid a Mohel, it's more by the job. So Milah, we could l'chayra understand. We see that the person who sent the b'shaleach, which would be in the case by us, the Mohel, the Avia Ben, he's asking somebody to do the Milah. So Milah, the Avia Ben cannot make the bracha because he gave it out to somebody else to do. There's a little bit of a shaila because the Machna Ephraim declares, but what's about the Uman? Could he make the bracha? If it's a Jewish person the person's a yid that's building it, and he's not a schir yoin, he's a kabbalah, and he's doing it by the job. Can he make a bracha? He declares about it. So that would be a little bit of a shaila by Milah, if you could or you can't, the boil. Let me share with you, Rabbi Zalman says, the reason why you can't make the bracha, and this is a klal, not only by Milah, it's negeya all over. Dr. Rabbi Zalman, it's in Shuvas, Madur Tinyana, Simenun Ches, he says that when Chachama will masaken the bracha, how a bracha should be, the matpei of a bracha, they said you make a bracha when you do a maisa, when you do something, or if not a maisa, at least a dibur. But lamashal, why I think it's even a toisvis, why don't we make a bracha on bittul chametz? The reason why we don't make a bracha is because there's no dibur and there's no maisa. So memela, Dr. Shlomo Zalman, any mitzvah that the person, the mishaleach, is sending off to the shliach to do, the mishaleach is not going to be able to make a bracha because he's not doing any maisa, which would come out by Micah also. It doesn't make a difference whether if it's a schir yoim or any type of worker, the mishaleach, the homeowner, can't make a bracha because the maisa is not doing any maisa. That's what would come out. So to get clear, part one, why the father doesn't make Davia Ben, why doesn't he make a bracha? The teretz is like any other mitzvah. If you don't do any maisa to the mitzvah, you can't make a bracha. But what would come out, a second of Shlomo Yosef, what would come out if, let's say, the father helps out a little bit? Like we had the recent Mohel speaker said, the fathers want to do a chelak at a mitzvah, they want to do the cut. Even if it's only a chelak at a mitzvah, but if you do a maisa, then the father can make a bracha. Only if there's no maisa b'chlal, then the father can't make a bracha. The father can't make a bracha. Oh, very good.
But they're going, you have to know.
Yeah. It's a shmooze for itself. Avada. Now we'll try to understand, and this is the main discussion, is the Mohel. The Mohel makes a bracha, Asher Kedishanu Al HaMilah. How could he make a bracha? It's not his mitzvah. And besides that, it's not his mitzvah. V'tzivanu, he was mitzvah, he's not mitzvah b'chlal. It's a mitzvah. The Torah says that the mitzvah is to the father. So he has no shaykhs to the mitzvah. He's doing it b'shlichusai. So Mamela, we understand that he could do the mitzvah from b'shlichusai. But how can he make a bracha? The Shulchan Aruch and Hilchas Pesach, Lagabe, somebody who goes to be boidik his house. So the Shulchan Aruch speaks about if somebody has a very big house, or if somebody has 3 houses, and it's very hard, time-consuming to go and be boidik all the different houses. So the halacha is, when he makes the bedika, when he makes the bracha, he has a few people with him. You could hire somebody to help him out, do him a favor. He makes the bracha, and his bracha, the ones that are going to help him do the bedika, they're yoytze with his bracha, and they help him out, they do the bedika on the rest. That's a halacha in Shulchan Aruch. Siman Taf Lamed Beis. So the Magen Avram's medayik, that this is dafka, that the person who owns the house is also doing a bedika. If the person's doing a bedika, he can make a bracha, and he can have other people be boidik with him. But what happens if, let's say, the balabayas is not doing a bedika b'chlal? It doesn't work. He's not well, he's too busy, he can't make the bedika, and he asks somebody else to do the bedika for him. And he's not dir b'chlal. Says the Magen Avram, I would understand from the Shulchan Aruch that the balabayas, the one of the house, doesn't make the bracha. He can't make the bracha. And the shliach can go on, he can make a bracha. That's what the Magen Avram says. Again, if I own a house, I can't make the bedika, and I ask somebody to go and be boidik for me in my house. I can't make, if I don't do the bedika, I can't make the bracha, and the one who's boidik makes the bracha. Frek the Magen Avram, our shayla, what we're asking now, frek the Magen Avram, how could it be that the shliach makes the bracha? L'chayre, the shliach has nothing to do with the mitzvah. So how could the shliach make the bracha? As I frek the Magen Avram, how could the shliach over there in Hilchas Pesach, how could the shliach make a bracha? It's true, he's helping out the balabayas on the bedika, that's true, but he has no shaykhs to the mitzvah. So how could he make a bracha? Now it's important to mention, the Magen Avram himself says it, all this question that we're asking is only if the person's not there. if the person is there, which most cases by the Mohel, the father is there and he's Shemea Ka'ina, he can make the bracha also. There's halacha by Shofar. If let's say somebody blew already, then he comes home from davening and he's somebody that's sick in a hospital, a nursing home, he could go and blow Shofar for the person to be moitzeh him. But not only could he blow, he can make the brachas also. That's halacha psuka. So why over there's no issue about making the brachas? The teretz is because over there the person that's being yotzeh the shofar is hearing the bracha shemei ka'ina. That we understand. But let's say in a case where the person is not here, let's get it just to make it simpler by either by bedikas chametz or by Milah. The father is not here. That's a different shmuz. We'll get to it hopefully soon. It's a shmiyah, but yeah, that's the. He has a shmiyah also. Maybe I want to try not to get into other cases. We'll have more cases also. Lamaisa by when you have the bracha and you have shemei ka'ina, so there we understand you can make the bracha. But by Milah, by the father, when the father's not here, or let's say bedikas chametz, how could the shliach make the bracha? L'chayrit is not his mitzvah b'chlal. How can you make the bracha? Says the Magen Avram that the reason why you can make the bracha is because lamaisa mitzvah ka'avit. That means even though the one who's doing it, the one who's being boidik the house, the mohel, he's not being makayim the mitzvah. He's not being the kiyam mitzvah belongs to who? To the father. The father's the one who has the mitzvah of Milah. Who has the kiyam mitzvah? The father. But since he's doing a maisa mitzvah, so memela you can make a bracha. And what does he say? He says dumya de Milah. Just like by Milah, the mohel does the bracha, makes the bracha, even though it's the mitzvah of the father. So too, b'meila by chametz also. What did he say? So very good. The teretz is that the halacha is that even if the father's not there, that's always the din. The mohel makes it's not amol mevarach asher kedishanu, beginning of Reish Samach, even if the father's not there. And the same is also when the Magen Avram speaks about the dika of the house. He's talking about when the Baal Bayis is not here. The Shulchan Aruch doesn't say, but the Magen Avram understands that you can make a bracha even when the Baal Bayis is not here. So in Milah we have clear that by Milah, even if the father is not around, the mohel can make a bracha because mitzvah ka'avid. The Dagul Mervava, the Baal Noidi B'Yehuda on Shulchan Aruch asks on the Tzustel, he says, I don't understand. What's the dimyan Milah to chametz? And he says like this. He says by Milah, you know why the mohel can make the bracha? The reason why the mohel can make the bracha is because l'mais, like the Gemara says in Kedushin, that Gans Klal Yisrael is mitzvah. He moilachem kol zachar. Everybody is included in the mitzvah of the mitzvah of Milah. Since everybody is included in the mitzvah of Milah, so Milah, that's why the mohel can make a bracha. He has shaychus to the mitzvah. Ma'ashein came by bedikas chametz. The person who owns the house has to do a bedika. No one else has any shaychus to that mitzvah of bedika in that house. By this baby, the mohel has shaychus because the Torah says that everybody in Klal Yisrael has to do the Milah, so he can make a bracha. So, Ibazai, what's the Magen Avram's tzushtel? That's what the Dagul Mervava asks. What'd you say? I hear you're asking that he's doing it matam the shlichus of the father. If you could allow me to even ask a little bit more, what is the olam thing?
Even Chavgazad is only if the father is not.
Oh, very good. Like Eli is saying, that says right now, if the father wants to do it, it's the father's mitzvah. No one else has any shaychus b'chlal. No one else has any shaychus. 1 second. No one has any shaychus. If the father doesn't want to do it, like the Shulchan Aruch says, then it goes over to Klal Yisrael. But first, now it's the mitzvah. It's the mitzvah of the father.
The father can't do it.
Even if the father can't do it, it's still the father's mitzvah. If the father doesn't want to do it, then he loses the mitzvah. If the father wants the does it, and part of his mitzvah is to be achroi to find the mohel, that's his mitzvah. Avada. So 1 second, just a second. So what are we bothered about? L'chayra, what's the Dagul Mervava's question to be machalak between Milah and chametz? And he says, you know why Milah is better? Because Milah, all of Klal Yisrael has shaychus, even the mohel. What the olam we're all asking over here is that l'chayra, the mohel doesn't have any shaychus to your baby's Milah. Your baby's Milah is your mitzvah. You're asking him a favor to do it, but it's not the Mohel's mitzvah.
If the Baal doesn't want to be boydig, nobody else.
No.
So it has more maybe it has more shyness.
Oh, so that's what you have to say. Very good, like Rabbi is saying. I was thinking the same thing also. But he doesn't have shayches, but he has shayches because if the father doesn't want to do it, he's going to take over. Means there could be a time that he'll be related to this mitzvah. By chametz, like Lipa saying, it's never ever going to be in such a situation with a guy owning the house that you have to be boidik. By Milah, at least they have somewhat of a shayches. If the father doesn't want to do it, you could the Mohel will come and Milah can make a bracha.
Because if it doesn't work out, you're going to be next.
Yanti Amaske, Mantaka, the Shaila I hear more. It's shver. Yanti is saying that Lamaisa, good you have it as a shayches, but Lamaisa, the shayches is that later you'll be mechuyev. Right now you're not mechuyev.
The guy that even now there's a shayches of mitzvah is because if there's a chiyuv dal to someone else can have the mitzvah. It's mutter on kais or rather the av has the mitzvah first.
We'll get to the Yud Zehuvim, hopefully. We're going to start moving now, but we'll get to the Yud Zehuvim towards the end to see what the gather of the mitzvah is. But that's the violet of Shaila. What's the Tushtal? The Yad Ephraim. Yad Ephraim has, let's move on. I want to move a little bit. The Yad Ephraim asks a different Shaila. One second. The Dokal Ravava says, Elamai, you know what the Dimyan is? The Dimyan is to Truma. Just like by Truma you can make a shliach to be someone to be mafresh, that's a Mishnah. And behechrech, when you can make a shliach, not only could you be mafresh, you could also make a bracha. What's the raya? Because the halacha is you're not allowed to be toirim arum because you can't make a bracha, which means l'tchatchila when you take Truma you got to make a bracha. So memela, if you could make a shliach for somebody to take Truma, al karchach the shliach can make the bracha. So you see that the pshat is that the shliach can make a bracha. So Milah, who had chametz, who had Milah. That's what the Dagam Ravava says. So we said you have a good point. Could be, but Lamaisa for some reason the Mashaleach is out. We took care of it in the beginning that it's not Lamaisa. He didn't do any Maisa. He doesn't make the bracha. The Yad Ephraim has an issue with Truma also, and Yanti here you'll be masking it's a little better. He says by Truma, you know why the Shliach can make a bracha? Because he really has shayches. Let's say that the Shliach wants to eat from this kri. The Shliach wants to eat from the dough, from the challah, from the bread. So then he can't eat. In other words, the Truma that he's taking is negeya to him. He needs the Afrash's Truma, and he needs the challah being taken to help out for him to be able to eat. So weiter, that's why Truma is weiter, an isolated oifen that you can make a bracha, and Milah we seemingly also is different. But why by chametz or in other cases, if you make a shliach, how could the shliach make a bracha? The Yad Ephraim says like this. The Yad Ephraim says that the pshat is, he says a moiridig agdara. This is a gavaldige thing to keep in your pocket for always. He says that these two types of mitzvahs. These are mitzvah shebegufay, which best understood as, let's say, tefillin. We know it's such a mitzvah shebegufay that you can't even ask somebody to do it for you because it's mamash al gufay. But even if it's not al gufay, there's a mitzvah that you have to do. Then there's a mitzvah that's not begufay. It's a mitzvah you want to call, we could call it, it's on the chefza, but it's not a mitzvah on you. For an example, it's a mitzvah on the house, mezuzah. The mitzvah is not on you. The mitzvah is you have a house. Your house needs a mezuzah. You have a house. Your house needs a maika. You have peiros. You have to take truma. You have a baby. The baby needs a milah, but it's not a mitzvah shebegufay. He explains, how do you know if it's called a mitzvah that's mutal begufay, begufa adam, or if it's mutal on the house or on the chayfetz? He says the klara raya is, what happens if you don't have that thing? If you don't have a house, you don't have to put a mezuzah. If you don't have a house, you don't have to put a maika. If a person doesn't have a baby, he doesn't have to do the bris. So that's called something that's not a mitzvah shebegufay. What is a mitzvah shebegufay? Mitzvah shebegufay is, let's say, kriya shema. I'm going to give one mashal, which really you could spend hours on it. My chavrusa today, Rabbi Yudalei Walmark, showed me that on Chanukah, Shifty and Lakewood went through mamish this topic Lagabi Chanukah Hadlokas Neris, if it's a mitzvah on the person or it's a chayvus abayis. But just to point one halacha to get the understanding, if let's say somebody almana or someone can't light in their house and they ask a shliach to light, the halacha is, the Magen Avram says, that the shliach can make a bracha, but even though the shliach makes a bracha, only if the person that's being yotzei the mitzvah is there and hears the bracha. Why? Why do you have to be there for the bracha? The teretz is because Ner Chanukah is a mitzvah that you're mitzvah to light Neris. It happens to be where to light it is in a house, but it's a mitzvah on you. Tefillin is a mitzvah on you. It happens to be even more, you have to put it on your hand, but it's a mitzvah that you have to do. All these other mitzvahs, if it's not here, you don't do it, that's not called the mitzvah shebegufay. So Milah what? Let's get to the point. Milah, we want to know why the shliach can make a bracha even if the person, the father, is not here by Milah. So he says, since it's b'shlichus, he's doing it b'shlichus of the father, and shliach shal adam kemoisai. So Milah, shliach shal adam kemoisai helps and accomplishes as if the father is doing it, and Milah, the shliach can make a bracha as well. So far we answered the second question. The reason why the Mohel can make the bracha, because he's doing it b'shlichus. Zok the Yad Ephraim, the shlichus work by Milah? He says, yeah. My grandfather, the Tvua Shoyer, which we spoke about vaguely in the first year, a whole handlerai, if let's say somebody doesn't want, somebody who is a Mohel, could he still give over the Milah to somebody else? Oh, machlokes, the shach, the ktsois. The Tvua Shoyer says shlichus, and shlichus helps. So by Milah, you have shlichus, and it's like the shlichus accomplishes so much as if the father's doing it. So by Milah, the Mohel can make the bracha. L'maisa, the Vitzivanu, you didn't really answer so stark, because L'maisa is not mitzvah. Good, shlichus shalad kamoisei l'choretz v'yashiv the Vitzivanu. I want to share with the Olam Yener of Shlomo Zalman. There of Shlomo Zalman that we said why the Meshaleach can't make the bracha. He says, you know why the Shliach can make the bracha? He says, really, you can't. It's not shayach really for a Shliach to make a Shliach on a bracha. I can't ask you, do me a taiva, do the mitzvah, and I'm making you a Shliach on the bracha. You can't make a Shliach on a bracha. You can't. Nor vas, nor since there's a takana. Not is a takon, I'm sorry. Since when I make you a shliach to do the mitzvah, the oifen of doing the mitzvah in the best way, in the proper way, is with a bracha. The Milah licked in the shlichas that I'm asking you to do the mitzvah, that you should do it in the best way, which means with a bracha.
What's the bracha?
Which means the shlichas is a shlichas on the mitzvah. But Lamaisa, why could you make a bracha? Zaktav Shlomo Zalman, you can make a bracha because the bracha is, you asked me to do the mitzvah. To do the mitzvah best is with a bracha. What's the raya? By truma we said that you shouldn't take a truma aram because you have to make a bracha. Bracha is a cheluk of being miyafa, the yipuya mitzvah. So Mamela, when you ask me to do the mitzvah, I can make the bracha as well. So Lamaisa is like this. Very good. Akiva, very good. What's the vitzivanu? So he says, that much you still have to come on, that he's a din of arvus. Lamaisa is a din of arvus, so you also be'etzem mitzvah. But you're all going to say, I mean, if there's a din of arvus, so what do you have to have all of this? He said, what it means, what do you have to come on to this whole Torah with shlichus? So the teretz is that the bracha was only mesukin for the person who's mechuyev the mitzvah, not the shliach. You can't make, they never made such a bracha, and maybe you can't make a shliach. But since by default the shliach doing the mitzvah has to make the bracha, but how does the bracha make sense? The bracha doesn't make sense. Where's the vitzivanu? Of that, the answer is that these arvas amel you could say vitzivanu also. So what comes out? What comes out is with a clarkite is that the mitzvahs Milah that the shliach does, the Mohel, he's doing it b'shlichas ha'av. And since he's doing it b'shlichas ha'av, that's why the Mohel is able to make a bracha. If you realize, a lot of times the Mohel will ask the father, you're making me a shliach, right? Sometimes even the Mohel gives over a knife, gives the knife to give over, you make a shliach. The Shulchan Aruch over here, Reish Samachay Sif Tes, says you make the Mohel a shliach, and the Makor is, the Tur says from the Gemara, the Mishnah and Tainis, that after that somebody's bringing a carbon, so mainly you make a shliach. Which, why do you have to come out to shlichas? L'chayr it's a din of oimed al gabov, not a shlichas to get in. What'd you say? Good. So why? I hear. Why can't what you ask him to do it as a shlich? You have to be some ma'isa kinyan. You're saying you don't have to do a ma'isa kinyan. Anytime when you make a shliach to sell the chametz, you don't have to do a kinyan. What? The vart is the Torah doesn't really say shlichus. The Torah says because that it should be. The Torah says out the carbon should be. He says you should be oimen al gavi a carbon, not al shlichus. But what we're saying now, Yitaka need shlichus. What you're saying now, Yitaka need shlichus. The reason why we need shlichus is pasha to be able to make the bracha. So for whose benefit over here? For whose benefit is the shlichus? The Mohel wants to be a shlich to be able to make a bracha. I always understood that really the Mohel is telling the father, make me a shlich. Why is he telling the father, make me a shlich? He's telling the father, make me a shlich. So like this, the mitzvah goes back to the father, which that could also be true. But la'or zeh, what we just came out very clearly, the only way the Mohel can make the bracha, he can only make the bracha is only if he's a shlich. So the Mohel has also a lot of interest that he should be a shlich for the father. Oh. Lamaisa, I have to end on time, so it's good. A few pages fell out. Lamaisa, this is a moiridig Rabbi, an Igris Moshe. It's moiridig. Someone wrote a shaila to Rabbi Moshe that the father, they did a bris and they didn't tell the father about the baby. Moshe says, I'm not sure if the case is that they were separated, divorced, they're fighting. They didn't tell the father B'chlal that he was a baby over here. They weren't my dear father. Rav Moshe downs up 3 things that could be wrong over here. First of all, he says, is the mitzvah B'chlal a mitzvah? Whose mitzvah is it? It's the father's mitzvah. If it's the father's mitzvah, anybody else that does it, it's not a good mitzvah. The Minchas Chinuch says by Micah, the Minchas Chinuch says that if somebody does a mitzvah for someone else without shlichus, it's an invalid mitzvah, it's not a good mitzvah. So first of all, he speaks about, is it a mitzvah b'chlal? He says, L'maisa, it's a mitzvah, the ain't tzarech hatafas tam bris. That's the first thing. Then he speaks about the name, the naming. You named it without the father. So he says, L'maisa, you see in the Torah, that the Rachel called Ben Oyni, Yaakov Ben Yamin. He says the name is also not a problem. You could put more names. Then he handles about the bracha, and this is the punchline. This is what I need. I want to hear what the Olam has to say. He says, the bracha. The Mohel did the bracha. Is it a bracha of Atola or not? He says, is it a bracha of Atola when the Mohel made the bracha? The Vaila, while we came out, he stole the mitzvah. The Vaila, we were masber klor. Avadi stole the mitzvah and he has to pay asar zuvim. You have to pay, yeah.
So you stole the bracha.
You stole the bracha and you have to pay. But we just said very clearly, aside from the Yad Ephraim, aside from Shlomo Zalman, the only way the Mohel can make the bracha, you know what? The Mohel can make a bracha because he's a shliach. If he's not a shliach, how can he make a bracha?
That if somebody steals a bris, he has to count for the bracha.
He has to pay a Sarah Zuvim for the mitzvah because he stole the mitzvah. What's the Shulchan Aruch? Because he stole the mitzvah. What?
He stole it.
Let's see what Rav Moshe says, and let's see how we could stem it with what we spoke now, the Yad Ephraim and the Shlomo Zalman. Nachum, Rav Moshe handles is it a problem of bracha levatala? Yeah, Yanti. We'll speak about it afterwards because it's. I want to just get just the punchline. What? That's not right. That's not right. Because the father doesn't know about it. The Rav Moshe read Zayis Alein, the whole thing, it's an Avla Gedoyl. He says, Everyone else has the mitzvah if the father doesn't want to do it. If he wants to do it, let me tell you, Ramosha says that Lamaisa is not a bracha levatala. We're asking L'chayre if there's a din shlichus, if you need to come on to shlichus, why is it not a bracha levatala? Ramosha says, you know why it's not a bracha levatala? I'll show you why. He says, by Kisi Adam, who gets to do the Kisi Adam? The Shoichet is the one who gets Kisi Adam. If anybody else that comes and does it, they could do the mitzvah, it's klor and halacha. Not only could he do the mitzvah, they can make the bracha. They stole the mitzvah, but they can make a bracha. Why could they do the bracha? Because by Kisi Adam, and Memela Zakter Moshe, who had them by Milah. But Zakter Moshe, it's not my tushtel Milah to Kisi Adam, it's a Rosh and Chulin that's Medama Milah to Kisi Adam. So what's the hezber? What's the havana? Why you can make the bracha? L'chayri is learning completely different than what we said till now. Ramosh is learning that just like by Kisi Adam, the mitzvah is a mitzvah for everybody to be machas Adam. Who has kedima? The shoichet has kedima. The same thing is by Milah also. Whose mitzvah is it? It's Klal Yisrael's mitzvah. Hima lachem kol zachar. The kedima to the mitzvah is the father. So Mamei avada the kedima and you stole the mitzvah and you have to pay asar zehuvim. But if we're talking about and you have to pay asar zehuvim, but lamaisa we're talking about the bracha, avada the bracha, the father will be able to avada the one who stole the mitzvah. The bracha is not a bracha levatala. So this is dafka by Milah. So just to sum up what we have over here, the father doesn't make the bracha ala Milah because he didn't do any maisa. And the Mohel, the reason why the Mohel could make the bracha, it's not his mitzvah, either because he's a shliach and whatever the shlichus accomplishes, or the way we're seeing now for Ramosha, that not only does the everyone else, the Mohel have a shaychus because he might take over the mitzvah. He has a shaychus right now. He also, it's his mitzvah. Now the father has kedima, and the makom where the father didn't do it, even if they stole it from him, avada he does the mitzvah and he's mekayim the mitzvah and he makes a bracha and it's not a bracha levatala.
This is